Right, my people, to Pro Max today in Biafra land as the indigenous people of Biafra. Yes, as the Biafra Liberation Army has lost a member, the IPOB has lost a member in hot, fresh attack. Yes, the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa has also blown hot, has also reacted to this with immediate effect. All right, my people, without further ado, we'll be going into the details of this news. Remember, we are your one and only Let's Talk TV. All right, tension has risen in Biafra land as another violent confrontation between the security forces, the zoo terrorists, and the Biafra Liberation Army. The indigenous people of Biafra have left one dead and several injured. The incident occurred in early hours in the morning and has further heightened an already volatile situation in the region. The latest clash took place in the outskirts of the Biafra land, southeast, where there was reportedly a meeting and there was an attack in that same joint by the joint task force of the zoo military and the zoo army and the zoo police units. And according to the eyewitnesses, the forces ambushed the gathering, and this is where they were caught. While full details still remain unclear, it is confirmed that one member has been confirmed dead, yes, killed, while others are sustaining injury. The identity of the disease has not yet been released officially, but the death has sent shockwaves to the Biafran community, with many accusing the government of launching a brutal crackdown on peaceful activists. Local residents described the scene as chaotic, with gunfire erupting without warning. This one is coming from someone within the area. He said, "We heard gunshots and saw people running helter-skelter, running in every direction. Everyone was scared, and we had witnessed the attack from a distance." In response to the death, there has been a call for immediate, like I said, immediate retaliation, condemning what they called the state-sponsored terrorism, which is what they've been doing right from time. It is not a new thing. It is not something that is new one way or another. It is something that has been clear right from time. The tension has risen all over the place. Of course, the PM has come out in a fiery broadcast and has blown hot, lashed out at the zoo authorities and vowed retribution over the deaths of the member. Who has gained a full-time reputation for his hardline stance on the Biafra independence, condemned the zoo government for what they did, a cowardly and unprovoked attack on his people. He has come out and has said that this particular Black Day will not be forgotten at any point in time, but had declared in a live stream, which of course is being followed by thousands of his supporters and followers. The blood of these fallen heroes will not be in vain. The Nigerian government must answer for their crimes. We will continue to resist this occupation and we will not rest until Biafra is free. Eba's words have further inflamed and caused more reaction. The zoo government has yet to officially make a statement on the latest clash, but sources within the military have defended the action. Of course, that is what they will see as a necessary response to the group they consider a threat to national security. But my people, they consider these people a national threat to national security, while there are others, their own people, causing more mayhem that you would ever think of in your entire life, and they've not seen it, they've not looked at it as as national security cause. And people, it should just let you know how far these people are ready to go, or how far these people are ready to take whatever it is whenever it comes to anything that looks like it's Southeast or Igbo. Shows how backward they are and how far they would go to do anything.
To create, form, operate, and manage a de facto government for and by the peoples and nation of Biafra, such government, such government to function in the meantime, as a bona fide government of Biafra in the manner of legal, customary, and decent governments. To secure the freedom and liberty of Biafra in its peoples from occupation by Nigeria, based on self-determination, paradigm, and principles with all haste and by all means necessary. To represent the sovereignty and interests of Biafra and its people in the region and in the world at large. To project the sovereignty, independence, and humanity of Biafra and its people at all times. Now, pay attention. We have gotten now to the main case that we are treating today. If I treat it today, what we are treating today is where we are now. We have entered there, and I want every one of you to pay attention. I will show you where to go so that if you want to go and read for yourself, you will go there to the page where I'm reading now in order to read for yourself and confirm it for yourself. Now listen. To constitute a transitional government of Biafra, which is known as TGB, Transitional Government of Biafra. Remember, I played you our PM's, conversation, which he talked about how the transitional government of Biafra. Now he said, this very charter, the Biafran charter said, to constitute a transitional government of Biafra, TGB, immediately after liberation of Biafra from Nigeria. Now, to constitute a transitional government of Biafra known as TGB immediately after liberation of Biafra from Nigeria for a specified and finite duration not to exceed 4 years. My people, I want you to reason today. If today happens to be the only day you can reason, please utilize today to reason. Because what Nigeria has come to do is to destroy us completely. After the arrest of our prime minister, Nigeria came to destroy us within. So I want you to reason. Follow this very, lecture very, very well. I want you to leave every other thing you are doing and focus, because I may not be able to do this again. I am not here for saga, so I may not be able to do this again. This may be only one time that I'll have time to do this. Pay attention, my wonderful people of Biafra. Now, let's take that again. To constitute a transitional government of Biafra, which PM had already said based on the conversation that I played for you before coming here, before coming to the Biafra charter, from PM direct. To constitute a transitional government of Biafra known as TGB immediately after liberation of Biafra. Immediately after liberation of Biafra, not immediately after declaration in Finland. We are still in exile. In case you don't know, don't let anybody confuse you. We are still in exile. And I don't want to talk first. Let me finish reading, then I'll talk. Now, immediately after liberation of Biafra from Nigeria for a specified and infinite duration not to exceed 4 years. Pending the formalization of Biafra state structures, post-occupation and post-liberation. Una na nuku oyibo ko unu chọrọ ka nna translate ya n'Igbo. Ụmụ be anyị, ụmụ Biafra, the Biafran people. Do you people do you people understand it? Do you people understand it, or you want me to translate it in Igbo language? Let me take that again. It says, immediately after liberation of Biafra from Nigeria for a specified and infinite duration not to exceed 4 years, pending the formalization of Biafra state. Listen, the formalization of Biafran state structures, post-occupation and post-liberation. Everything, before we even talk about anything, we are going to first of all liberate ourselves from Nigeria, and this transitional government is post-occupation and post-liberation, post-occupation of Nigeria in Biafra territory and post-liberation after we must have, evicted Nigeria from Biafra and liberate ourselves from Nigeria. Then we begin to talk about transitional government. We haven't even come to BRGIE. We haven't come to, I want you to follow. Borrow ear this evening. Borrow ear this evening. Borrow ear this evening. I know the reason I said that. Not for insult. I know the reason I said that. Now, to secure Biafra people and its territory, the Biafra Republic government in exile has formed and deployed the Biafra Liberation Army, BLA, Biafra Resistance Fighters, BRF, and Biafra Air Force, Biafra Navy, the Black Marines, and the Dragon Fighters Marine. Structures of BDFG. The Biafra de facto government shall consist of 2 arms. Now, Ugo Ebelugonambawu, and I want everybody to listen. Ugo Ebelugonambawu. Now, the functions of BDFG, Biafra de facto government in the homeland. Now, the Biafra de facto government shall consist of 2 arms. A Biafra Republic government in exile, BRGIE, which is number 1, based outside of Biafra. Remember, the Biafra government consists 2 arms. Number 1 is BRGIE, which is based outside of Biafra. And number 2, a Biafra government within Biafra, to be known as Biafra Republic government in the homeland, known as BRGH. Biafra Republic government in the homeland. Now, both arms shall function in tight coordination and in harmony with the BRGIA in the apex role. The BRGIA will be in the apex role, which is Biafra Republic government in exile, will be in the apex role, because every decision and things we will be doing will come from BRGIA down to de facto in the homeland. Right? Now, let's continue. Functions of BDFG. The sole function of Biafra Republic government in exile and Biafra de facto government is to carry out the mandate of the Biafra de facto government as stated in the Biafra Charter Authorization. BRGIE shall respect laws of host communities in furtherance of this mandate. BRGIE shall respect international laws dealing with self-determination and protection of human rights and rely in particular on the Geneva Conventions Protocol 2. BDFG, Biafra de facto government in homeland will work with our peoples at home. Will work with our peoples at home in Biafra territory and in Nigeria
has remained adamant that he probably is not going to allow this. He said the unity of Nigeria is non-negotiable. That clearly indicates that he's not going to relent in his push to silence any voice of dissenting as far as that position is concerned. So which way forward to heal the divide between or amongst the Nigerians, especially on Biafra crisis?
I think the best thing is to ask them what they want. I remember one time Professor Wole Soyinka said, if we can continue fighting Biafrans for such a long time, it's not long before we go to war, which is actually happening right now. Why don't we ask them what they want? And for sure they have voiced and they have said it, that they want referendum. Why? Because for a long time, they do not have a mutual understanding with the rest of the Nigeria nation. They are not understood. They are marginalized for such a long time. They are not wanted by the rest of the Nigerian government. So the best thing is to take them to a referendum so that we know exactly what they want and separate them if that is exactly what they want. Why? Because if we continue like this, these are crises not only in Nigeria, but it will have a ripple effect to the bordering countries. And with time, it will have a big effect to the African countries. As I'm talking, Africa has the largest immigrants to the world. It has the largest refugees to the rest of the continents. Why is that so? It's because of such crises that we can see in Biafra and Amazonia and other countries like Sudan. So I think before we even move forward, it's very important that we give or they're given referendum. From there, they can be able to sort out the rest of the challenges. And it's quite unfortunate because we have diplomatic missions in Nigeria. Why can't they take that issue with them and sort it out? Why are they quiet? Why is the world quiet when Biafrans are suffering? Why is the world quiet when we know very well that such issues can affect the whole of the African continent? It's quite sad, and that's why as Punchline Africa TV will continue talking to the world and saying that these people need a referendum. They're not needed. If you honestly you don't need me in your space, give me what I want so that I can self-govern myself, which I think it's a good way and a diplomatic way of allowing people to go their way.
Mm-hmm. That would be good. Coupled with that, I would like you to approach it from a different angle altogether. What probably could have informed this agitation for, of course, separation, for a referendum to go separate ways between, of course, Nigeria and the people of Biafra? Let's approach it from that angle as you and ask ourselves, what probably can we do to see into it that we find a healing in this divide?
Yeah, I think it's paramount to understand that for starters, there was no redemption, and the word you just used, healing, from the first Biafran crisis in 1967, to the 3 years fighting. And if you remember very well, there was a brief period where they got their independence, and then the Nigerian military decided to send all the planes to just bomb indiscriminately anybody who was found in that region. And those scars are passed on in what is called transgenerational trauma. You don't even have to tell your child about this. It's the same thing that affects most African countries. You don't really need to tell your child, hate this person or hate this person, but the way you behave and the way you talk about these things and the tone with which you use, your children pick that, and then they grow up with that. They send it to their children and their children's children, and each generation comes forth understanding their history and knowing very well that we are the people who have been marginalized in a country where we are one of the most, we are creating profit. We're bringing GDP, one of the highest rates of GDP. We're bringing the largest group of intelligent people. We're bringing the largest group of talented people. And yet we are the people who are not benefiting from all this. And this crisis goes on in most of the countries that we are finding, we are finding, in the African continent with protests currently like Amazonia and Ethiopia. If you bring in another angle of...
All right, please let me know if my voice is coming out clear now. Please let me know so we can continue. Very, very important. Let me know. If you can hear me, please let me know in the comment section, my wonderful people of Biafra and, of course, lovers of freedom. Can you hear me? The very moment we went into the main point that has brought us here today, boom. Boom. Osetia. The very moment. Because that very chapter or should I say page, that very page 27 was the straw that breaks the camel's back. That page 27, once I'm done with that page 27 this evening, those of you who have been confused all this while, we know your stand. Those of you who didn't know where you stand will definitely come to realization, will definitely know your stand. Once I'm done with the page 27, which I'm bringing back now, you all will know where you stand. So relax, calm down. One thing I will assure you, one thing I will promise you is that, listen, because I did not listen to any of them, any of these two groups fighting, I didn't listen to their personal and individual conversations. I wanted a meeting. I called for a meeting. They disappointed me. They all disappointed me. So I have to go and follow the Biafra law. Because we have a law already. We already have a law which all of them. Somebody say, please go back to page 26. Okay, fine. I will start from the ending part of page 20. Maybe that is where my voice, maybe I don't know if it was attack or what. And I also want to use this opportunity to announce that we are no longer, in fact, let me keep that one for now. We will get there later. We'll get there later. So I'm bringing it back to the screen. I am not in any way following anybody. Right? I am showing you where our Prime Minister stands. And wherever our Prime Minister stands, that is where I stand. And our Prime Minister cannot enact law and do otherwise. Something that has been signed into law of Biafra, which they all joined together to sign. Which all of them joined together and signed into law in Finland during the convention. So, in as much as that is where our Prime Minister stands, then I will have no problem standing there at the same time. Now, I'm going to continue with the ending part of the page 26 because someone has already asked me to go back to page 26. Probably that is where my voice stopped, coming out. Can you hear me? Please let me know in the comment section so that we'll continue immediately without wasting any further time. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, please? If my voice is coming out clear, let me know now so we continue. Very, very important. All right. So we'll continue now. Let us continue. Now, functions of BDFG. The sole function of Biafra Republic Government in Exile and Biafra de facto government is to carry out the mandate of the Biafra de facto government as stated in the Biafra Charter Authorization. BLGIE shall respect laws of host communities in furtherance of this mandate. BLGIE shall respect international laws dealing with self-determination and protection of human rights and rely in particular on the Geneva Convention's Protocol 2. BDFG will work with our peoples at home in Biafra territory and in Nigeria, cognizant of the state of Nigeria's occupational forces foisted over our people, to keep alive and project Biafra's sovereignty and independence in accordance with the mandate and to mobilize. Now, pay attention. I want you to remember here because we are going into the next page. And to mobilize, right? To mobilize and do what again? Or Banje Yaba this evening. After this broadcast, Yakbotobazia. Yakbotoba. Now, and to mobilize from the other page. Now, this is page 27. Organize and manage our people for socio-political activism in order to carry out our resolve for self-determination. Now listen and listen very, very attentively, my Biafran people. At all times, the functions of BLGIE and BLGH, Biafra Republic Government in Homeland, are to be well coordinated, harmonious, complementary, and seamless. Following the liberation of Biafra from Nigeria, the Biafra de facto government. Oh, now, this is where we are now. It says, following the liberation of Biafra from Nigeria, the Biafra de facto government consisting of BLGIE and BLGH together shall form the nucleus of the transitional government of Biafra. Oh, should I explain it? Do you want me to explain it in Igbo language so that you will understand it? Following the liberation of Biafra from Nigeria. It did not say following the redeclaration of Biafra in Finland. It said following the liberation of Biafra from Nigeria, the liberation, following the liberation of Biafra from Nigeria, the Biafra de facto government, consisting of BLGIE and BLGH together, BLGIE meaning Biafra Republic Government in exile, and BLGH, Biafra Republic Government in homeland, together shall form the nucleus of transitional government of Biafra, which is exactly what the Prime Minister talked about. The conversation, the broadcast that I played for you before we entered into this very Biafra charter, where I will still play it again for you if you want, where our Prime Minister talked about transitional government. When the recognition starts coming in, I hope you outline that. I hope you remember that. Now, this very Biafra charter, the Biafran law, says the Biafra Republic Government in exile and Biafra Republic Government in the homeland together shall form the nucleus of transitional government of Biafra. And remember, it says here, following the liberation of Biafra from Nigeria.